Good morning. See, I see Pendejo, which is Tracy Bogart, Sam Tobias. See, Sam, you're assuming that if the Cowboys get players in positions they don't need, that's a screw up. Whereas I see Kyle Pitts as a transformational, transcendent, Hall of Fame, game changing, franchise changing player. So we will see. Sam Tobias, Astros win. Very nice, yes. Jason Paniagua. In fact, I think Altuve might have hit a home run. I think he got an RBI. I think it was a home run. Here we come. Wes Perkins, Hector Gomez, Alan Green, welcome. Bigger than Witten, Sam. It is Wednesday. It is NFL Draft Eve. Those of you who are starved for football, like I am, certainly our friend Tanner Carlson, who we had on the show yesterday, is. We'll bring him back on the day of the draft tomorrow, and we'll maybe have some prophecy. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney and Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. A little bit later in the 8 o'clock hour, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, is going to join us. But Shannon, by looking at your reviews online, the new home of Austin FC, Q2 Stadium, which you toured yesterday, apparently meets with your approval.
Yeah, they still have some ways to go before that June 19th home opener, but it is absolutely incredible. I mean, the details in it, from everything of, they've basically painted a mini Austin within this stadium, where one side looks like the east side of town and the other is kind of decorated to look like the west side, and it all kind of brings Austin together in this one place. The details, even from the logos on the seats to the sections carved from wood. And then they keep bringing us into these rooms. They're like, this is our brewery area. This is one VIP section that you can get into. And then they take us into another place. And they're like, this is the Captain Morgan Lounge, where this is another VIP place. And then it's just room after room after room. It's incredible. I can't wait to go to an event there, no matter what it's going to be, because they can hold 20,000 people for a soccer game and close to 25,000, they think, for concerts, and I'm sure they're going to get some incredible acts. I tried to get some inside scoop to see if they had anybody lined up yet, and they said yes, but we can't say. But they would not let us go in the Verde store, which is the stadium store that will be open to the public all the time, just like your normal store, similar to what's at DKR.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let us go in because they are quickly preparing for, and I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but it opens on
Oh, nice. There's some news you can use.
If you don't have your Austin FC swag yet, because I know it can be hard to find, especially in a particular size, because it all seems to fly off the shelves immediately. They've been doing the Verde van around town for the last couple of months, where you had to basically reserve your spot in line ahead of time. But the Verde store opening very soon, and they have lots of stuff in there. I peeked through the windows. An absolute incredible stadium. I cannot wait.
Could you visualize a concert? Did you kind of look? I mean, how do you think the feel would be? I love outdoor concert venues, so I just to have another one here, I think is so cool.
Well, what's spectacular is that every seat is covered by the sun. So, for those midsummer soccer games, you even though it kind of I didn't realize until I was in there that every seat truly is covered by the sun. So no one's ever going to be in direct sunlight. But I think audio wise, that'll
So, well,
all
how is it covered by the sun? That sounds
they've
confusing to
got
me.
it's not it's an open stadium, right? But
Yes.
they've got these, I don't even know what you would call it, like a overhead hanger
Oh, okay. I see what you're
that
saying.
goes all the way around. But for audio, it would keep everything. It just makes it even louder, makes it even more
Ooh.
spectacular. And the big picture that everyone posts when they're inside the stadium is that one side just below the jumbotron where the seats are, so you can read ATX in the seats. The way they've got the colored seats displayed there, that part actually pulls out to where they can have stages, and they said they can get like 6 rigs of trucks in there, which is like your standard concert size tour. So that they drop some big artist names of just like size tours that they can
Yeah.
accommodate there, including like your Taylor Swifts and your Beyoncés. So I would hope that when artists do start touring again, because I know they're slowly kind of trickling out, testing the water, seeing what they can kind of get away with as restrictions change throughout the country. I can't wait. It's an incredible, incredible place. Every room, I went with some other fellow iHearts people here, and every room we walked into, we were like, "Oh, we should do our Christmas party here. Oh, we should do our Christmas party in this room." And it's just like wishful thinking, but it's absolutely incredible. The detail is amazing. It is truly, truly Austin, something that I think everyone will enjoy. Down to the food, they've got all the local food options: Double Dave's, Taco Deli, so many. I mean, I'm mad and jealous. I don't have season tickets, which now that waiting list is like 18,000 people,
My goodness.
which is like a whole other stadium almost.
Yeah.
When you think about
Wow, wow, wow. But you're media, so you
it. I know. I
can
was like,
you
how
got
do I get a
access
press
if you
pass,
want it.
please?
Yes. So very, very
Interesting. That's
cool.
the one thing they didn't show us yesterday was the press box. Maybe
That
it's all right. It was a little humid yesterday, and walking up and down those steps it was a little much for me while wearing a mask on top
that
of
is
it.
kind of interesting that they would have iHeart people, the media touring, and
Maybe it
I know
wasn't
there
like
is the partnership there between iHeart and Austin FC, but you don't tour the press box. That's kind of interesting.
And they did say McConaughey is expected to be at the first game.
Oh, he's got to be.
So I don't know which. We did look at the suites, but we didn't find out which one was his exactly. So I can't tell you exactly where to look, but I can tell you he'll be there.
And I get the feeling we're going to see him on the field for part of that afternoon or evening whenever it happens. I mean,
would think
he's
so.
yeah, he's
I would think so. Whenever he's at Texas football games, he splits his time between his box and the field.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would expect that as well. Well, we got a lot going on in just a few moments here. We're going to do the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. We do that on the 20s at 6:20 and at 7:20 and throughout the day 12 times on the 20s. So we will do that. I mentioned earlier Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, going to join us just after 8 o'clock. Not just basketball talk, not just sports talk, but today, little music. Bill Schoening, an Austin dude, so he's musical, singer-songwriter, and always entertaining and fun when we hear some music from Bill Schoening.
Is it a theme song for Austin FC?
Ooh.
He should write one.
You must
I challenge him to write one.
You must bring that up to him in less than 2 hours. It's a great idea. It's an outstanding idea. I love it. That, you know what? If Austin FC isn't, Austin is such a musical town. The team should do that in conjunction with us, of course.
Yes.
And people should submit the songs, and we should play the songs on the air, and we should, narrow from however much come in 47, 407, whatever, narrow it down, have a little contest, have a little bracket, have a little playoff, and determine the ultimate Austin FC song. I love that.
It's a great brand partnership deal between what's already iHeart and Austin FC.
Mm-hmm.
We should do it because I don't think they have a song. I know they have
Right.
the group of fans that play the drums, which is awesome. I know they have some beats, that are special to Austin FC, but I don't know that there's
The
a
official
Bill
team
Schoening type
song would be
theme song.
cool. Would be cool. And again, as you just alluded to, because iHeart has that partnership, we're not just one sports station, although we're a pretty badass sports station. We got music stations at iHeart, so we could just do this whole musical theme song thing across multiple stations, which would be cool. All right. New idea. I like it. Let's see. So, Bill Schoening, 8 o'clock. And we'll get into this. We're about a minute out from the Grand in Your Hand cash contest, Shannon. But your Dallas Mavericks last night go on a 28-0 run on the Golden State Warriors, wind up winning by 30. And normally when the Mavericks win, I'm like, meh. But last night they kind of did the Spurs a favor. They kind of sent Golden State further back into the 10 slot. And although the Spurs still kind of chasing the Mavericks, who were 2.5 games ahead of the Spurs and in the 6 slot, but kind of did the Spurs a favor last night.
So you're happy for me is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
So
That's my way of saying, hey, I'm happy for you because your team did something for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
That's the way sports work, particularly at this part in the NBA season.
Yeah.
Where you do get more interested in other games goings-ons because they're what happens matters.
It does. And it's good,
But
man.
that's also what happens when you're the Spurs and you're in the 10 spot right now. And 9 spot, sorry. And you haven't played well enough to where you know, things can be taken out of your hands.
True.
Other teams don't help you out.
The basketball gods giveth and the basketball gods taketh away. And right now we want to giveth $1,000. We do this at 6:20 and 7:20 and throughout the day on the 20s, a chance to win $1,000. It's easy. You're going to get a keyword. You go to the website, wherever you're listening, Ticket 760, AM 1300, The Zone, pop in the keyword. Your name's in the hat. You got a shot at $1,000. Here it is, the Grand in Your Hand cash contest.
To win $1,000, just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Laugh. That's laugh. Enter it now.
But do you spell laugh Laugh, or do you spell it Laff? I guess most people spell it Laugh. However, there was
with 2 Fs.
Excuse me?
Who spells it with 2 Fs?
Well, there was a famous comedy club called the Laugh Stop in Austin, Texas, and they spelled it with 2 Fs, Laff. The late, one of the greatest comedians ever to walk the face of the earth, the late, great Bill Hicks, made it his home, the Laugh Stop in Austin. Just saying.
I forget you were a comedian. Like
a long time ago in a galaxy far, and I was a regular at the Laugh Stop in Austin because the people who owned that one owned the River Center Comedy Club in San Antonio. So I'd go up, do a week, stay in the comedy condo. You know what a comedy condo is, Shannon?
No, it sounds very collegiate though.
It is. Typically a comedy club, owners of a comedy club, to save money, instead of putting your touring comedians up in a motel or a hotel, because that would cost more money over time. So the comedy club will typically rent a condo. So the comedians will then stay in the condo for the week, whoever the comics are performing at that club for the week. And typically comedians are not the cleanest people, and they often do drugs and strange things in the you find strange paraphernalia of all kinds in a comedy condo. That's all I'm saying.
Did you ever tour the country, or were you strictly Central Texas?
I tended to be Texas and Oklahoma. I would do the Tulsa Comedy Club. I do some in Oklahoma. And right when I was getting to the point where you have to make that decision because you can't really grow as a comic unless you go on the road, that's when radio kind of happened for me. And I had to say, all right, am I going to do radio or am I going to do the comedy thing? And I wound up doing radio.
What's the biggest audience you think you've ever stood in front of with a microphone in your hand?
I opened for Howie Mandel at the Majestic Theater once in San Antonio. That was a few thousand.
He didn't let you shake his hand though, did he?
I don't.
Like a huge germaphobe guy.
I don't remember him saying don't do that, but he was very nice. He was very nice, as I recall. So
see, I like radio because right now we're talking to thousands of people.
True.
Probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Honestly.
Yes.
but I'm not looking at them, and I guess some of them are looking at me. I'm still trying to get over that part, but I don't have to look at them. It's just you and I, Chris.
Yeah, that is funny. I mean, it's funny how, and they say that one of the biggest fears is public speaking, death, taxes, public speaking. And it is kind of funny that radio people can talk a mile a minute on the radio. And it's like you and me having a conversation. Yet sometimes, and what's so weird, because I was doing stand-up comedy for about 10 years, and it was just easy to get on a stage, grab a microphone, and go. I mean, I did it every night, night in, night out. Then I stopped for a while. So I was never nervous on stage. It was just absolutely normal. And I forget what it was some kind of an event that I was emceeing. And I remember going out onto the stage, and there was this big crowd. And I remember feeling something in my and I go, what is that? And it was like nerves. And I had not, in like 10 years, I had not felt nerves in front of an audience. Like, crap, this stuff happens and it comes back. And but like everything else, though, and this happens to a lot of people. I used to teach a stand-up comedy workshop, and it's true. And we found this out. It was my experience, and it was the experience of a lot of people beginning stand-up comedy. Is you might feel nervous as you're coming on the stage, but typically once you grab the mic and begin, if you just begin, that tends to go away. And it happened again for me when I felt nervous.
Unless you're bombing, right?
True. Yeah. Then you sweat and people yell, you suck.
I sweat when I meet a new person. Or especially when I meet someone who's like, oh, I listen to the show. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic. I'm so sorry to disappoint you in person right now. I'm so sorry.
Very fun. I don't think you just see what you need to realize. You don't disappoint anybody. So then you're good.
My parents.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all disappoint our parents, but we are streaming live video. Before we break, we'll recognize Benito Castaneda. Welcome in. Who says good morning? Who's ready for the NFL draft? I am. Wes Perkins with some NFL draft ideas. We'll see what you're saying on Facebook Live as we roll forward. We do have a poll question we'll get to in the next segment. Shannon will introduce it to you. It has something to do with the NFL draft and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see. We'll talk NFL, of course. We'll talk NBA. We'll talk Major League Baseball. Astros won last night, which was cool. Astros back to, and hopefully above now, 500. We'll see. Everything's popping. Ooh, and coming up, the high five play of the day. That, the Salty Shakedown, a whole lot more. We're with you till 9. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. Thanks for being with us on the Chris Duel Show. All right, I'm still looking.
Chris,
Dave,
did you get my text?
Show prep. Let me see if I can find anything else.
Oh, Chris, I
for
sent
high
you a
five.
text.
I don't know that there is.
I sent you a text.
My
Can you
voice
hear
just
me?
freaked out.
Can you hear me? Dave, can you have him?
Might have to get some coffee.
On so he can hear me.
Yeah, I can't. I've got her in queue. Let me see what's going on.
Can you hear me?
Now I do. Thank you.
I sent you a text for an idea.
Oh, thank you.
A little off the rails, but I think we could spin it. Maybe.
Okay, I'm looking. One sec. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because San Antonio loves him. I'm sure Austin people know of him and love him. Yeah, so you want to do that since you're a Maverick and he's now property of your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
And have you seen the play? You need to go look at it.
I have not. Where can I find it? I'm sure just put his name in Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. There it is.
It wasn't anything more serious. So he gets hit there. His head did snap, and then right there.
Even if it's a little bit, they're just the snap part. And it's so tough because you can't brace yourself once you elevate in the air like that and get hit. Again,
what a great guy.
Now and Lloyd explaining it.
Yep. What happened right here? Like Did they give him a flagrant 2 on that and tossed it
He
out?
did. Yeah, he got tossed.
I don't agree with that. I really don't. Flagrant 1, yes. Intent there, that's like
What Poole's reaction was, it wasn't even the knock across the neck area. It was more on the fall.
Hello, Don Holding. Hey, Don, I meant to get back with you yesterday. Why don't we do 7:06 tomorrow to talk to you on the radio? Don is the wrestler about to make his wrestling debut. I'm getting coffee. I'll be right back. Coffee's in here. Oh. All right, I'll be right back. Coffee. Me, Boban need coffee.
Happy birthday, Gordon. A Wednesday birthday. What do you do on a Wednesday to celebrate? Or do you hold off to the weekend? Yeah, Jason, the whole YouTuber fighting thing, we're just making it worse by giving him fights. I know everyone wants to beat him up because he's a YouTuber, but they're only fueling the fire here. Certainly not paying to see those fights. AD says you hump your Wednesday birthday. That's fantastic. Sam, if the Cowboys get Pitts, which I don't think they will, but if they do, he's not a Witten guy in his style of play. Witten played every down like he was 54 years old. There you go, Gordon. That's my kind of birthday, no matter what day of the week.
Woo!
Buy dinner with the fam.
Gordon. We'll give you a shout out on the radio, Gordon. Yeah, Don, I will get you that later today, probably. But I'll do it. Okay, now I need to. Did that song ever arrive in your email? Because I haven't sent it from my iHeart yet. You did get it. Okay, good. Cool. Okay. I mean, how much How much music coming in do we miss to go right to the lyrics? Oh, okay. Yeah, but see if he's proud of that. I don't want to by playing his song, and I don't want to piss him off. Yeah. Well, I'll probably because it's only like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, right? Yeah. So I just go ahead since he's there listening, and again, just because I don't know if he'd probably be fine with it, but if okay, all right. Let's see. Okay, thank you. So there's that. Xavier Moreno, welcome in. Alan Green, Sam Tobias, Luisa Alanis, Gordon Weedman on his birthday. Happy birthday. Hector Gomez, Don Haas Holding. He'll be on the show tomorrow just after 7. Gabriel De La Cruz. Benito Castaneda, Wes Perkins. I've got to train myself to look at the private chat and my texts more often because Andy sent me that text on Monday when he couldn't make it, and it wasn't until it was called to my attention. So, oh yeah, and I do have to send that out. I guess I'll do that next break. All right, here we go. Welcome back. It's the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, who has toured Q2 Stadium, the home of Austin FC. And if you were listening, she gave you some news you can use in the previous segment. If you're an Austin FC fan, you have a shot to go by the fan. Do they call it the fan shop? What do they call that store?
The Verde store.
Oh, the Verde store. There you go. I got to get with the program, get the terminology down. Nobody else knows, but it's going to open on Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So, okay. But we'll just keep that, we don't want to speak out of school or anything like that.
I mean, they told a bunch of radio people they had to know that.
Yeah.
Somebody would say it.
If there are any blabbermouths in the city of Austin, it's radio people. So there you go. They must know. Plus, I mean, that's...
I had some other questions, right? I asked them about what other events they had coming and if they had any big ones, and they said yes, but we can't tell you. So I assume she knows what she can and can't say.
Ah, exactly. Yes. Well, I wonder and I imagine.
And I don't think they'd be mad if they had a line of people and to come buy all their stuff opening day. I don't think they would dislike that.
Exactly. So the more there's buzz in Austin that on Friday, the Verde store is going to open up. You can buy all your Austin FC gear and swag. Then, yeah, people should start gearing up for that. Before we do the high five play of the day, and you mentioned, and I'm sure the first concert at that new stadium is going to be a big deal. I remember when they did the first concert at the Alamo Dome, I think And Dave Ayler, were you in town yet? I think it was Paul McCartney. I think they wanted to make a splash, and I think the Alamo Dome's first concert, and and Gordon Weedman's a big concert guy in San Antonio. Oh, by the way, happy birthday,
Yes, happy
Gordon
birthday,
Weedman, regular contributor, participant on Facebook Live. But so he'll correct me immediately if I'm wrong. But I think the first concert, Dave, was Paul McCartney. Do you remember that?
That was before my time, but I think you're right.
Boom! Gordon Weedman just confirmed that, so I know it's true.
Didn't Jerry bring George Strait to Arlington?
I think yeah. So
Stadium when it was AT&T Stadium.
I do believe you're right. So one question that we can what would be later on, we'll discuss this. What would be the biggest act that Austin FC's new home, Q2 Stadium, could bring in for the first concert? What would be the greatest possible first concert? That's a good question.
I'm trying to think of did Elton John ever finish his actual tour? His like goodbye tour? Did COVID?
Ooh.
I know,
I think it's still going on, or he rescheduled dates for
Okay.
it.
and I know like the Rolling Stones were going to play Coda last year. And
Yes.
I got cut. And I also, but it also seems very Austin for them to go with like a Willie or something.
Ooh, that would be great too.
You know,
Oh my
not
God.
necessarily like your big Rolling Stone headlining
Yeah.
team from around the world, but something that the city would just go nuts for.
For Willie to open that sounds, I like that a lot.
Someone said Bad Bunny, who I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
I'm vaguely familiar with that. I know it's Spanish language,
Yes,
so
he's got a lot of hits out right now.
Yeah.
His current tour, like sold out minutes, and tickets are going for unbelievable prices.
my
right
goodness.
now. That I wouldn't be surprising that if he did add more dates, just because so many people want to go to this show, that I don't know, he comes to Austin.
Yeah, Shannon, when you and I do the entire show in Spanish, maybe on Cinco de Mayo, if we could learn Spanish by May 5th, Bad Bunny is on the list of possible guests for our all Espanol program. So I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely part of the Bring Back Music,
Woo!
part of that track.
I do though. If we were sitting at a board meeting, around a big board table with the people making that decision for that stadium, I love your Willie Nelson idea. As much as the Rolling Stones would be huge, or Elton John or Taylor Swift, man, Willie, just so that you always like say, hey, remember the first concert? Yeah, it was Willie.
Well, and this might be an unpopular opinion. I'm a Willie fan because I'm supposed to be a Willie fan and because I'm born and raised Austinite. But other than like the Christmas song about Pretty Ribbon or something, I couldn't name you a Willie anything.
Well, Whiskey River is one of his classics. He did. If you ever get a chance, and I know we're going to do the high five play of the day here, and I keep talking so we don't get to it, but we're going to get to it. He had it's like kind of non-Willie, but it is Willie. He had an album in the late 70s called Stardust. And do you know this one, Dave, where he sang standards? He sang classic American songbook standards that were like songs from the 40s and 50s. So it was like, and at the time, Willie was country and honky tonk, and this seemed like so not Willie for him to do this. And that album, and Gordon, once again, if Gordon says Willie's birthday is tomorrow, Gordon can back me up on this because he's a music guy on Facebook Live. That album was on the charts like 2 years. It was like in the top 40 of album sales because it was hugely successful. So if you ever get a chance on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, listen to the Stardust album by Willie. It's beautiful music. It's very romantic and not your typical Willie stuff, but Whiskey River.
And when I saw Metallica at ACL, when the bass player and the guitar player came out and did their solo, and they did Whiskey River.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that's probably his most famous and his standard. And all right.
Or On the Road Again was
absolutely On the Road Again. That's huge. Yeah. Okay. I've been tap dancing and saying we're going to get to it. So now we're going to get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the high five play of the day. And before we reveal it, Shannon, you've been to High Five. You've been throwing axes, having cocktails, having fun. For people who don't know what High Five is, tell them.
It's the ultimate entertainment venue in the Austin area. They've got bowling, laser tag, of course, axe throwing. You've got your darts for just the classic people who want to, pinkies out with their old fashions and just throw a couple darts. I feel like the way I threw that first axe, which hit the ceiling, I don't know that you want to put me in a room with darts. And then that virtual Top Golf room, which you can rent and have up to 12 people in there playing not only golf, but soccer and football, fun draft day activity. You can actually also rent that room. It's got a giant screen, of course, to play these virtual games, but you can rent it for game days and then have the ultimate watch party as well. They've also got great happy hour specials. We mentioned on Tuesdays, $2 Taco Tuesdays. What better way to celebrate a Taco Tuesday? So good times and good vibes, all at High Five, one on Anderson Lane and one out in Lakeway. And today's story, you brought it up a little bit earlier, Chris. The Mavs won last night, but it wasn't without its controversy, even though it was a beatdown for the Mavericks against the Golden State Warriors. Everyone's favorite guy, the gentle giant in the NBA, Boban, was ejected for a flagrant 2 on Jordan Poole. And I know you're thinking, well, how is this a high five moment? The high five moment goes to everyone but the referees, who were overly confused and overly concerned as to why Boban, of all people, probably the most beloved guy in the league, hard to hate him. As I said, gentle giant.
Impossible
he
to hate him.
No harm.
Yeah.
Go back and look at the foul. It's barely maybe a flagrant 1. It really was just a foul because dude has like such long limbs that the way Jordan Poole kind of fell after his shot, he just kind of, the head and the arm just kind of came together, barely. So the reaction overall from everyone, I mean, the best memes are currently circulating on Twitter if you just look up Boban's name, of everyone saying, how can this be true? Everyone is shocked. Everyone is hurt. Everyone feels dejected. Even Poole during the game couldn't believe that he was getting ejected. So high five for the reaction and a no five for that referee.
The best part of the video for me, Shannon, and we'll tweet it out. Look at Boban's reaction. You talk about him being the gentle giant. He sees the Poole goes to the ground hard, no question, hits his head on the floor a little bit. Boban immediately goes to him, gets down on a knee, comforts him, says, "Are you okay?" His opponent, the guy he's just trying to block his shot, the guy he's trying in the NBA, which is so much about ego and, ooh, look at me, I'm real special, and I'll show you. Other guys would have 90% of other NBA players would not have been as caring as Boban was for another player on the court, his opponent. That video is worth looking at, and we will tweet it out just to see Boban's sportsmanship in that moment.
Dude is in a goldfish commercial right now. Come on. The NBA, I mean, he's going to get fined, isn't he? For a flagrant 2?
I think automatically, yeah.
I mean,
probably.
Mark Cuban, just pay it. Don't. I mean, this is ridiculous right here. Awful. But nonetheless, high five to Boban for being that kind of guy, even when he is called. Because he could have turned around and started yelling at the ref for, what do you mean? This wasn't a foul, this, that, and the other, like you said. He, ultimate sportsmanship, ultimate guy, got down on the ground, made sure he was okay, helped the guy up. Way to go, Boban. I'm happy to have you on my team, as I'm sure everyone who's ever had you on your team, which wishes you great success, even Spurs fans, as you don that Mavs jersey.
Oh, you can't. And we need to bring up Boban with Bill Schoening, because Bill, Boban broke into the NBA with the Spurs. And Bill once on a road trip, we'll ask him about it, and maybe he can even post it again, or we can go find it. He went to Baskin Robbins 31 flavors for ice cream. Apparently Boban loves ice cream. Okay. So Boban invited Bill out to go to have ice. And so there's this photo of Boban who's like 7'7" and Bill Schoening, and Bill comes up to like his knee in the photo, and they've each got like a little cup of ice cream. They're enjoying ice cream. And Bill Schoening got to know Boban personally, and San Antonio fans, like Dallas fans and wherever he goes, fell in love with Boban. And I told you the story recently on the air. Boban loved Pop, and Boban, the Spurs were his first NBA team. And when Detroit wanted to throw a lot of money at him, much more money than the Spurs could afford in that slot. Boban was willing to stay in San Antonio at his current salary, whereas these aren't the numbers, but he was making maybe $2 million a year in San Antonio, and Detroit was going to offer 10. And Pop said, "Are you kidding me? Go, you earned this. Go make money for your family, for your future. Go. We love you, but thank you and adios and congratulations on getting 5 times bigger of a contract in Detroit." He's just the sweetest guy. And again, a giant man that if you saw him in an alley, you would certainly go in the opposite direction because he could hurt you if he wanted to.
I now have this image of him towering over like the ice creams in Baskin Robbins while holding what in his hand certainly makes any size ice cream cup look like a kitty size.
Yeah.
With just a little pink spoon to eat it from.
I didn't even think of that too. It's like you and I, we get like a serving at Baskin Robbins, and it's like, all right, that satisfies me. That's some for Boban. He would probably need
the whole gallon that they scoop it out of.
Give me the gallon.
I want that one. They're like, oh, how many scoops? He's like, no, I want that one, the whole thing. Stick the scoop in there.
He is so cool, and he's been in some movies already, and I just hope. Say again?
John Wick.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just hope that continues. I hope I hope he has a long NBA career. I hope he gets a ring somewhere. If the Spurs can't get a ring this year, Shannon, and I know you probably don't expect the Mavericks to be in contention, but yeah, speak it into existence. I want Boban to have a ring, darn it. So speaking of the NBA, a little bit of controversy. And as you know, Shannon, I'm an ABA guy because I grew up on the ABA. When the Spurs first came to town, it was the American Basketball Association with the red, white, and blue ball. They had the three-point shot. The NBA did not. That's something the NBA realized, hey, they got something smart going on in the ABA. So when they merged, the NBA did the three-point shot. But Dr. J, Julius Erving, who was arguably the greatest player in the ABA, he was with the New York Nets. Then they merged. He went to the Philadelphia 76ers. He releases his 2 best teams of all time. So his top 5, his starting 5 best ever, he says are Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain. Now on his second team, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Karl Malone, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, something interesting is A, Michael Jordan's on his second team, and B, on his first team and his second team, Shannon, no LeBron James. And a lot of people are going, dude, what? No LeBron James? Kobe. No Kobe either. That's a huge point. But he said the reason he did not put LeBron on either team is because he's the dude who started those super teams. So apparently there's some ill will from the great Dr. J. And because of that, because LeBron started super teams, Dr. J leaves him off his greatest teams of all time. But you're right, no Kobe either, which is weird.
I guess that's, and we're in a time now where, there's only 5 people on the court, right? So and there's so many players. And I think in with the social media and digital age and all the TV coverage, because it used to just be the only thing you'd ever see of the players was the games, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe if you watch the evening news, you saw a snippet with a sports reporter in a post game, something or other in the locker room. But now it's everything all of the time. So even if a player is mediocre, but he is fantastic with his marketing, it makes him seem like that much of a better player to a lot of people or his fans and following because he's great on Instagram or he's, displaying this wonderful life that makes him seem like he's the best guy there ever was to touch a basketball. So I think that's where a lot of the argument may come in. I wasn't around to watch like any of those guys that were on that list. So I couldn't sit here and debate why or why not they shouldn't be on there.
Well, see, I think that's part of it too. Like if you look at his first team,
there's very much a generational divide.
Yeah, all 5 of those came before Dr. J. Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. I think his rationale for that was, I think those were his heroes when he was a
Right.
kid and when he was coming up.
It's like when musical artists today, like they think of Prince and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Those are who they aspired to be like growing up. And now the younger generation is, they've got their Britney Spears and their Christina Aguileras and their Mariah Careys. And that there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. You can't knock someone for not being around to witness what others perceived as greatness.
Mm-hmm. But you can go find it. That's like when I run into somebody, when I meet somebody in their 20s who digs the Beatles, it's just cool to me. It's like, wow, you didn't have to go back and discover them and go listen to them, but you did.
Have you? I worry that you've met someone who doesn't dig the Beatles.
Why are
they not in jail?
They should be. Well, and there's some people like even my age going, I just don't get the Beatles. I don't get it. No. Well, after my head explodes and I scream like a banshee for 10 minutes, then I try to have a discussion with that person.
I don't get it. She loves you? Come together?
Yeah, what's the big deal, man? Quick break. Happy birthday, Gordon Weedman on Facebook Live. Great guy. Lots coming up. Don't go anywhere. Salty Shakedown in the next hour and a whole lot more. Shannon Sweeney, Dave Ayler making the show go. It's the Chris Duel Show. Laura Burris, who had a birthday yesterday at TPC Parkway for doing good on the green for the San Antonio Food Bank and the New Braunfels Food Bank. Good for you, Laura. That's so cool. Steve DiRocco, The Rock, who I believe was at the Paul McCartney concert, the first ever concert at the Alamo Dome. I do believe.
John, you're very right. I would love to see Justin Timberlake perform there because I tend to have to travel for his shows. But I didn't want to state the obvious because clearly everyone already knew that answer for me.
That is true. Kudos to you for resisting the temptation to say Justin.
Yeah.
Got to be Justin.
Just always assume it's Justin, and I'm giving you my second choice. Oh, someone says the Beatles are the most overrated band in the history of music.
Sports Opinion 210. I stand with the vast majority. You're like somebody saying, well, I believe COVID is a hoax and vaccines don't work. Well, you can Sports Opinion 210. You can find whack nuts who say that, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So God love you. And aren't you adorable for having that opinion?
They hit it right with like the age group and the frenzy. But like Justin Bieber, like he hit it right too when he first started and he was hated. But then after a while, people were like, oh, like he's legit. And so are the Beatles. Like they are talented. And they went on to prove that with hit after hit after hit.
Well, and a lot of what they were doing, a lot of the things that is rock and roll now, that other rock and roll bands do normal, they were doing things with strings and experimenting with music and different rhythms and melodies and harmonies that had never been done before that worked and became huge hits. So other bands started doing that. So Sports Opinion 210 apparently fails to grasp that, but we love you anyway. Just love you a little less than we did before. At least I do. I'm heating my coffee. I'll be right back.
Sam, I do not believe in the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. Did y'all see the Lightning McQueen Crocs thing yesterday? Apparently adults are very upset that they quickly ran out of the Crocs designed like Disney's Lightning McQueen. Like very upset. And now they're on sale for like $1,800. James, because we're in America and I refuse to wake up early on the weekends to watch European soccer, I've always followed pretty closely the U.S. national team. More so the women because they are so much better than the men. And I like to watch teams win and score goals, which the men aren't great at.
Lucinda Sullivan, good morning. James Pellman, good morning.
And James, I was in London when France won the World Cup. And I think I might have been in Paris just prior to. And oh no, I didn't go to Paris that year. But I was in London the day we got there was the day France won the World Cup, and I did not expect to see what I saw, which was people in French jerseys climbing all over water fountains and raising hell in the middle of London, Leicester Square. That was pretty incredible. John Williams, laser tag. I don't know what paint tag is, but I don't like being dirty, so I probably wouldn't like it.
I think he's talking about paintballs.
Oh, I like paintball, but yeah, not paintball. That's an outdoor thing.
All right, we didn't get to the poll question, so we'll do poll question out of the gate here, Shannon.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Robert Armstrong, good morning.
What are your thoughts? Robert, I'm fine with it. Like, you go to the University of Texas, you shouldn't be surprised that that is the school song. It is what it is. And if you want to be in band and don't want to play the song, they're making a band just for you.
Are they really? Is there going to be a separate band that doesn't play the song?
I don't think it's a marching band, but like your concert bands.
Okay.
But you can't go to UT and say you want to be in the band and then be like, but I don't want to play the one song that is about the school. Like, you chose to go to Texas.
Yeah, I saw some weird thing and Don, we were mentioning Willie Nelson. I didn't cite this, but it was very funny. Don said Willie Nelson and high five sound like they go hand in hand. That was very funny. Patrick Hart in Colorado Springs. Patrick, I lived just north of there at the Air Force Academy for 2 years. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, yeah, here it was. James Pellman said, and I don't know if you addressed this when I was out, Shannon, but Shannon, love your love for Austin FC, but give it 5 years and all the rich people will give up on the team. I guess he's referring to the waiting list, and I'm not so sure about that. I mean, the rich people haven't given up on the Spurs all these years.
I mean, for one, it's a long waiting list. So it'll probably take longer than 5 years. For two, if they do, I mean, I guess that's better for me. But I mean, look at what UT has done. They haven't been considered a big-time winning program for the last decade, and they're building more stadium, and with that more stadium, more suites that people are paying for, big-time bucks for. People are throwing money at the university. So I can't imagine them walking away from a pro team. And to be fair, like an MLS team or any pro team typically needs to get their foot in the door. I mean, look at LAFC, who was the first team they played, is only 4 years old now. And they had a particularly really hot start after joining the league. But even if they're not great 5 years from now, that doesn't mean they're not going to be great. I think it takes time.
Here we come in just a sec. Let's see. Where is...
This is the Chris Duel Show. Now, Chris Duel.
Welcome into Wednesday, midpoint of the week. It is all downhill from here, and it's more than a Wednesday, April 28th. It is NFL Draft Eve. A lot of freaks, NFL freaks, like Tanner Carlson, who's a regular on the show, like me, are geeked up about the NFL draft. Shannon Salty Sweeney, not so much, but you are going to have it on kind of as background noise while you go about other activities in your life, correct?
Tomorrow's my sister's birthday celebration. We have dinner plans, so it's not a priority.
So you're going to miss it.
Obviously, I have my phone on me, and there'll be some, scouring the interwebs for things of that nature. But when I'm not around my TV tomorrow, I'm, it's out of my hands.
It'll be dinner with sis, and you'll hear somebody in the restaurant going, "Hey, did you hear what the Cowboys did? It's unbelievable." And you're going to go, "No, I'm busy over here."
Her birthday is actually Friday, and she's going out of town, so we're doing it tomorrow. And it's not like when my parents told me that I was like, "No, please stop! Don't make me." Like, I'll always take free dinner.
Oh yeah. Well, an early happy birthday to your sister. And I didn't go Google it, but somebody told us when we brought up Willie Nelson earlier, somebody said Willie's birthday is tomorrow. Now, as I say that on the radio, never say something you haven't double checked.
Check that.
So there, now I'm saying it without having. So if it is true that Willie's birthday is tomorrow, then happy birthday, Will. We'll certainly celebrate it if it is. And if not, then we'll find the person who told us and we'll publicly humiliate them. Speaking of public humiliation, the Dallas Cowboys are a humiliation, but what will they do in the NFL draft, which is tomorrow? A lot of our listeners, myself included, are Dallas Cowboys fans. That would include Shannon. That would include Tanner Carlson. If you're not a Cowboys fan, we'll still talk to you, but you know. So our poll question, Shannon, has to do with the draft and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, asking what would you like to see the Dallas Cowboys do in the first round of the NFL draft, which of course is tomorrow. 3 options today. Stand pat, get CB at number 10, which is of course their first pick in tomorrow's draft as it stands. Trade up for Kyle Pitts or trade back for more picks. Staying with number 10 pick and getting a cornerback. 71%.
Wow.
The rest of the poll tied there for trading up for Kyle Pitts or trade for more picks. I feel like this was a very personal question for you, that maybe somewhere deep down you want Kyle Pitts because you want that
do.
jersey. You like the flashy star. You like the idea of having that Gronk, Kelsey guy who can block but also catch the deep ball and moss people.
Well, and
we
you
did that last year with CeeDee Lamb. We got to go for needs. We can't go for wants here. So
I know. Well, and again, it's not just a want, and that is what a lot of people are arguing. Go for needs, don't go for wants. But if Kyle Pitts is what a lot of people say he will become, one of the greatest tight ends in the NFL, you look at all of those years that Jason Witten, and I think Kyle Pitts is going to be better than Jason Witten, who will go to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Jason Witten at tight end was such a safety blanket, a safety valve, a check down for Tony Romo and for Dak Prescott. And Kyle Pitts, by all accounts, he's like a hybrid. He's not just a tight end. He's got this huge speed. So he's like a tight end / wide receiver who can be a game breaker. I just think, you know, Patrick Surtain, the smart money says, and the conservative, probably smart move is, as Shannon describes, stay at number 10 and probably take Alabama cornerback Patrick Surtain. But I don't think anybody is suggesting that Patrick Surtain is a game changer and a transcendent cornerback. But a lot of people are saying things like that about Kyle Pitts. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it. That's all I'm saying. But you're right. You nailed me. It's personal. It was a personal question. And once again, and I'm used to this, I am in the minority of thought on this prospect.
That's fine. I mean, I don't know that there would be a ton of Cowboys fans who would hate to get Kyle Pitts because, again, we are the delusional fan base. And delusion, starts from the top and spreads all the way to the bottom because Jerry, with every pick of the draft, no matter who it is, no matter what year it is, no matter what pick it is, thinks that guy is going into the Hall of Fame and he is the best pick of all time. He could be Mr. Irrelevant and he'd be like, yes, this guy, Cowboy Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, going to the Professional Football Hall of Fame. He will make a difference as the place kicker holder. He will do it. He's going to be the best there ever was. Stats galore. And you're like, excuse me? What? No, this guy will be cut in a week. Send him back to Dick's Sporting Goods where he worked 2 weeks ago.
Oh. We mentioned Willie Nelson. We mentioned musical acts in the previous hour because you did a tour of. And let's go here too because you put out a lot of social media of yourself and the stadium and your impressions of the Austin FC Stadium, Q2 Stadium. Where are some of the best places people can go find your social media and look at those videos?
TikTok for myself, obviously that same old username, Shannon B. Sweeney, and AM1300 The Zones. I got to use I've been holding on to, TikTok has a lot of fun audio to play with. And I had one that I'd been holding on to for forever until I could get that walkthrough, and I finally got to do it. So make sure you go check that out. If you don't have TikTok, that video is also on our Instagram on our Reels page, so you can check it out there as well.
If you don't have TikTok, go get TikTok. And Dave Ayler, don't
don't
get me
have to
started
use-
on your not having Twitter, dude.
You don't have to create TikTok videos. No one's saying to go out there and do a renegade.
Yeah.
But you can get lost in just scrolling through TikTok videos because they're so entertaining and mind-numbing. Sometimes you just need that.
Well, and there's a little bit of something for everybody. When I first heard of TikTok, I thought it was kids and their parents dancing. Because that's all I'd hear about. Here's somebody dancing, but it over time it figures out what you like. So I mean, I see on my feed, I got like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Carl Sagan talking about the universe, and I mean, there's all kinds of there's political things, there's music, there's entertainment, there's nostalgia. I keep getting these weird Tom Cruise videos on my. Do you get those? My God,
TikTok is great in that they kind of find your niche.
Uh-huh.
But then every now and again, you'll start getting videos that are so not, and you're like, I've been getting a lot of reptile related videos, with like them being fed or them like slit. I'm like, this is grossing me out. I don't want to see this, so I just immediately swipe through, thinking like, hopefully they're picking up on this because I don't want to see those videos. Yeah, are you referring to the Tom Cruise videos of the guy that are like making his face to look like Tom Cruise?
See, I haven't friended him.
Is not on TikTok,
But it looks exactly. I mean, if you didn't know that they're using technology, and apparently I've read that they've got an actor who kind of looks like him who does it, but then they use the technology to put Tom Cruise's face on him, and it looks like Tom Cruise from Top Gun. I mean, it's a young Tom, but no, so I haven't friended or followed that account yet for some reason. I guess because I've slowed down and looked at them. I guess TikTok, the longer you look at a video, it goes, this is what you like. We'll give you more of this. Right. So I keep it's not my niche, Tom Cruise, but I keep getting the videos. And I guess in a weird way, I wind up looking at him just because they're so uncanny.
Yeah.
It looks so much like him.
There's some other ones where it's people doing like a Justin Bieber or something. And I think there's lawsuits now going around because this technology is considered pretty dangerous when you think about it, because that Tom Cruise one specifically, people for the longest time thought it really was him. And he was doing not like crazy or stupid videos that would get Tom in any trouble, but you think of what that kind of power in the wrong hands really make it, if people were to believe it was Tom Cruise, and
well, I have heard, I was listening to like a technology podcast, and they said within 5 years, you just said if that power gets into the wrong hands, some of these futurists say within 5 years that power will be in everyone's hands. So, and they said where it's going to get really bad, you'll have like a breakup and some dude, you hear stories now about a couple, and the guy has like some nude photos of the woman, so he'll put them out on the internet. Now you'll be able to have, a bad guy just because he's got photos of a woman's face, his ex or whoever wants to do something like this, which is awful, and then can create these videos. And so in other words, oh my God. So they're saying fasten your seatbelts because this is going to be in everybody's hands soon.
Well, and you imagine, to put this back into a sports perspective, you're a rival. You're about to play your rival in a couple of weeks. They have a star player, and he's playing really well, and he's probably going to crush you. If you are a rabid, overzealous fan for your team, and you have this technology, are you looking up a video of some guy doing something illegal and stupid and trying to put that person's face on there and make it look like they did it? So then they either are suspension or under investigation at the time of that game. I mean, it's just, that in itself seems ridiculous, but yet there are people out there and in this world who would do far worse.
Yeah.
If it's already so easy to use things like TikTok that, given, there are really cool filters that do cool things, that do change your face, but they're just funny in their jokes. But when it comes to putting other people's faces and having them look that believable, that's scary. So
now I must go because I did mention Dave Ayler, and Dave, you're not on Twitter. I don't understand why you wouldn't be on Twitter. I got to assume you're also not on TikTok, right?
Well, why would I want to be on someplace where my exes could put all my face up there on some other guy's body?
Well, they can't. That's not specifically TikTok, Twitter technology.
Yeah, they can't do that for at least 3 years.
They can upload it there because it's a video platform, but
They'll figure a way out to do it. I can sense it right now.
Don't you want to see your fabricated nude videos before the rest of the world does? Don't you want to know what's being said about you and done on internet?
It's bad enough just looking in the mirror in the morning and seeing myself naked.
listen,
I don't need to see myself on TikTok either.
if you're going to work in sports radio, you have to have a Twitter profile because that is where news breaks.
I'm on
And news
Facebook. You
happens.
can find me on Facebook.
And
Yeah,
no
it's all
one
the
uses
same thing.
Facebook. No one uses Facebook.
I do.
I use
I'm trying to
Facebook
bring
for
Facebook
work,
back.
and that is it.
I'm
Facebook is dead.
I'm bringing Facebook back.
There you go.
And then MySpace.
You're speaking Shannon's language. She can understand. I'm bringing Facebook back. She has a
Well, when you
reference
said
to that.
MySpace, Justin Timberlake reinvested in MySpace to try and bring it back, and that did not work.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Then it died. He had an office and everything.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, if Justin can't bring MySpace back, nobody can bring MySpace back.
I know we stream to Facebook every day, but other than that, it's dead.
Wow, Facebook is dead.
Facebook is.
You heard it here first. You
You
heard
want to go
two
feel
things
bad
this
about
morning.
yourself? Go scroll through your Facebook home feed.
Two scoops. A, the Austin FC Verde store. Am I saying it right? Verde?
Verde.
Verde. Thank you. So by the time we do our all Spanish show, I'm going to rock. I'm going to be able to roll my R's and everything. The Verde store opens on Friday, and we learned from Shannon, Facebook is dead.
Yeah.
Which is why we stream live video.
Once the parents got on Facebook, it died.
Well, the parents are going to get on TikTok too. It's going to happen.
Then by that point, we will have moved on.
There'll be something else. Something else will happen. All right. We are coming up to the top of the hour. So I'll actually do this on time. And Dave will hit it close to 20. It's the first time I've been on time for this contest in 2 weeks, which is a shocker. So we do this on the 20s. It's the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. We do it twice here at 6:20 and 7:20, and then it goes throughout the day, like 12 times throughout the day. Listen for the keyword, then go to the website, either AM 1300 The Zone or Ticket 760. Put in the keyword, and you can win $1,000. Somebody's going to win it. It may as well be you. Here it is.
Right now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. School. That's school. Enter it now.
School. Go enter that keyword. I hope you win $1,000. By the way, Gordon Weedman, who we mentioned, it's his birthday. He does confirm, and to me, he's a reliable source. Tomorrow is Willie Nelson's birthday. It will be Willie's 88th birthday tomorrow. Yes. So happy birthday, Willie.
88.
88.
My goodness.
And I think he's on Facebook.
Exactly. He's on Facebook, doesn't have a TikTok, doesn't have a Twitter.
I mean, he
And maybe
needs the
MySpace,
age
too.
demo.
Very nice. So speaking of music, and I Dave Ayler, as you know, Shannon, because he's a producer for 1200 WOAI, and he comes from the old school where like producers would produce, like find and create content.
Produced back in my day.
There you go. So we were talking about what band, and Willie was a great idea. What band should open Q2 Stadium, the new home for Austin FC? Apparently, a lot of people, there's a controversy about the Eagles, and that wouldn't be a bad band, even though the Eagles are out there. But technically, the name the Eagles, they're not the Eagles. If you look at their website and look at every one of their albums, they are Eagles. They're not, and I do too. I call them the Eagles, but officially, they're not the Eagles. They're just Eagles.
Okay, so are people upset that they're not the Eagles? Where's the controversy?
Some people are upset. Some people can't say, no, man, I know because Wikipedia says the Eagles, but if you go to the Eagles website, it's Eagles, and Eagles website, it's got to be eagles.com, right? I pulled it up. Yes, eagles.com. They've got all their album covers. They've got all their products, all their merch. There's no the anywhere to be found. It's Eagles. So Dave Ayler provided me and you a list of 20 bands that do not have the in them.
Okay.
Can you, off the top of your head, can you name a band that does not have the?
Wait, are these bands that people think have?
No. These are just bands. There's no the, such as Well, and some people do say the Grateful Dead was not the
Okay.
Grateful Dead. It's Grateful Dead. Beastie Boys,
Yeah.
not the Beastie Boys. Bee Gees. I always said the Bee Gees. Carpenters. Karen and Richard Carr. I never knew that. Foo Fighters. We know that. Nobody says the Foo Fighters. Misfits. Pixies. Pretenders. I always said the Pretenders. Ramones. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Scorpions. Sex Pistols. Steve Miller Band. Talking Heads. And Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs. No these in any of those names. So apparently that's a thing.
I guess. I mean, when you think about it, it's almost like the of music names. Do you
True.
really need it?
Well,
Especially when you think of their graphics and their designs, because people get so cool with their graphics. A the kind of gets in the way, probably.
yeah, Wes Perkins brings up AC/DC. That you don't say the AC/DC. Metallica, you don't say the Metallica. But so there. Anyway, I just thought that was weird because the Eagles, or excuse me, Eagles, have been just such a huge band all these years and still are, even though Glenn Fry passed away. But yeah, that's why, man, I would love to see Eagles in Austin at Q2 Stadium. I'd put them on the list.
I wouldn't, just because, and for selfish reasons, because I got to see Eagles perform at ACL as they were.
Was Glenn Fry still alive?
Yes.
Nice.
So for me, that is, you can't top that. I don't want to go backwards. That being said, if they were to perform and someone offered me a ticket, I would take it in a heartbeat.
Oh, if someone offered you a ticket, but because you saw the full-fledged Eagles with Glenn Fry back in the day, you have no, unless someone gives you a ticket, they're showing up in Austin at Q2 Stadium, you're not going to buy the ticket because it's like, I've already seen that.
Yeah, well, and I've seen it in its truest form. It's like Journey, where there's a different front man.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that is, and Queen, I know it's Adam Lambert, but I don't really care as much about the musicians, right? It's the vocalist is the guy that you're watching the whole time, and I don't know him.
Yeah, but in the case of Queen, yeah, Steve Perry was the original voice of Queen. Steve Perry was so amazing. But did you know the story about the guy who's now and I think he's still the lead singer for Journey. He was in the Philippines. There's a documentary about him on Netflix. He was in the Philippines doing a tribute band. So he lived in the Philippines, sounded just like Steve Perry, but doing a tribute band. And he gets a call from Neil Schoen, the lead guitarist of Journey, one day. And he goes, "We've seen your YouTubes and we'd like you to come out and audition for us in San Francisco." And he thought it was a crank call. He said, this can't be real. It was real. So he flies from Manila in the Philippines to San Francisco to audition for Journey. They loved him. And I just love the story. So the dude who had a tribute band to Journey becomes the lead singer of Journey. It's just so cool.
That is incredible, but I'm not paying money to go see that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got to Google his name.
Like a fake Elvis. Like, no.
So you're saying, but he's approved by the band though, so it's not like a fake Elvis. I mean, it is the band.
Elvis isn't here to approve anything that we know.
Arnel Pineda is his name. I had to Google it before we went to break. Arnel Pineda was the guy in the Philippines doing the tribute band, and now he's the lead singer of Journey. So dreams can come true, folks. Go do a tribute band. You may be the lead singer of that band someday. Just saying. Gordon Weedman says, "I saw Eagles," and he's not saying the. Gordon says, "I saw Eagles in 1972 when they opened for Jethro Tull in San Antonio. It was their first appearance." Gordon, was that the Hemisphere Arena? I'm just guessing. Quick break. Coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. This day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. Just after 8 o'clock, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, not just talking Spurs, not just talking basketball, but performing music. We'll hear one of his tunes. That's always fun. He's very, very talented. That's coming up. Your phone calls if you want to join us. 800-707-9760. Facebook is dead, but we still stream live video on dead Facebook. You can join us there. Join us via YouTube. Join us on Twitch, where all the kids are these days. I'm assuming Dave Ayler's not on Twitch, but That's just an assumption. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. She's Shannon. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show. Municipal Auditorium. Thank you, Gordon.
Anthony says we're off the air. What are you trying to listen to, Anthony? Because I hear us on the app and on Zone Air, so I don't know about Ticket Air in San Antonio.
All right. I need ice. So I'm going to make the transition to iced tea.
Dave, can you check Tickets Air and make sure it's on?
Anthony Del Toro, welcome. All right, Ernest, I will tell. I got people on Facebook saying 760's off the air. I don't know how we check that.
It's on the app. The app is working, but I don't know about the actual on air. I checked the app. The app is working.
Thank you, Ernest. We'll check it. Okay. According to Dave, Ernest, everything's normal on Dave's side, so hopefully that is corrected.
We're sending something to the transmitter, unless it's a new transmitter problem.
Okay.
So you're hearing the on-air feed through the board then? Oh, you can't move the bus to check the air feed? So Dave, what do you do for fun if you're not on TikTok? I spend hours on TikTok. Yeah, my generation is just not active on Facebook, so there's nothing much to look at. So what activities do you do? Because I now consider TikTok an activity to scroll through and make myself laugh all day. It's sad, I know. Oh, yeah. Which I can barely do these days anyway, because my attention span is... Oh, really? When did you get rid of it? You didn't have it through quarantine, then go back to it? Oh my God. No video games or nothing? Oh, season 3 just dropped. GTA. I got GTA, so I played more, like I've always played Xbox, but just like this last year, like Red Dead, Grand Theft, I played for the first time. I just got PGA Tour.
Hello, Carl Fisher. Wes Perkins saying static on 760.
I used to play Assassins, but I don't know. It got too. It's almost
I'm
too.
still getting multiple people saying nothing but static on 760.
Too much I got to do. Too big of an open world.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Gonna text Brian just to make him aware.
The last 6 months. Just like maybe the wind will blow the leaves away.
Thanks to all of you for letting us know that. That helps us to solve the problem.
So Chris, is Gonzo not there to check whatever's wrong with ticket?
Thank you, Dean. I just texted the boss man.
Happy birthday, Dean.
There it is.
It's everyone's birthday this week.
There it is. Okay. There you go. There you go, Sam. Okay, the boss man is on it. Welcome back. It's the Chris Duel Show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler, who just says no to Twitter and TikTok and social media. Nonetheless, a very talented soundscape stylist making the show go throughout the morning. Coming up just after 8 o'clock, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs and a singer-songwriter. We'll talk some sports and hear a little music from Bill Schoening. Shannon will challenge him to write an Austin FC theme song, and we will ask him about his ice cream encounters with Boban. So lots to talk about with Bill Schoening. Poll question, if you want to go check it out, at Ticket760, at AM1300 The Zone on Twitter, is what should the Cowboys do in the first round of the NFL draft tomorrow, which, by the way, we got huge programming right here on AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760, live coverage of the NFL draft with a spectacular cast and crew. We'll be telling you about that as well. So if you're out and about or wherever you listen to us, You don't have to miss a single pick of the NFL draft. Unless you're Shannon, then you'll be at a birthday celebration for her sister.
Yeah.
But Shannon, you can still have the iHeartRadio app in your head and say, sis, I love you, but the Cowboys are on the clock.
Dinner table with my AirPods in. I can't talk to you because 1, I'm very rich because I have AirPods, and 2, because I'm listening to the draft.
Exactly. So do you have AirPods?
I do. Have you never heard the joke about AirPods and people thinking they're super rich because they have AirPods? That's like a meme.
I automatically, I've not seen the meme, but when I see AirPods, I go, whoa, you forked over some cash.
Yeah. The joke really hit me hard when I got AirPods, and then a month later, the AirPods 2 came out.
Oh, so. What's better about the AirPods 2 than the first AirPods?
I think they have noise canceling. So you can really shut out the poor people, I just love those memes because I'm driving, Chick-fil-A workers, Chick-fil-A treats their employees fantastic. And they get paid really well because I'm in the Chick-fil-A line and all of them are doing their own thing with their AirPods in. I'm like, man.
But if they're doing that, how can they serve you? How can they?
I know, but they can. They're incredible.
Because that's why they get the big bucks.
I'm sorry. I just love me some of the Lord's chicken.
The grilled chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A.
You dig them?
I dig them. Yeah.
They have a new spicy grilled chicken sandwich that's also pretty bomb.
Ooh. See, they need to be a sponsor of the show. Here we are just fawning all over Chick-fil-A.
Right down the road.
Come on, Chick-fil-A. In a moment, Shannon's salty shakedown. I guess the chicken is salty at Chick-fil-A. Well, it's well seasoned. We know that. Before that, some sports birthdays and this day in sports history. On this day, April 28th, 1956, Cincinnati Reds outfielder Frank Robinson hits the first of what would be 586 career home runs. He was pretty good. On this day in 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses induction into the Army and is stripped of his boxing title. At the time, he was vilified by most of America and around the world. And he is pretty much now revered as a guy who did the right thing at that time. This day in 1985, Billy Martin was named the Yankee manager for the 4th time. 4 times. 3 times fired, 4 times brought back as the Yankees manager. This day in 1985, Fernando Valenzuela sets a record of 41 scoreless innings to start the season for the LA Dodgers. And I always bring up, we saw him in San Antonio first, pitching for the AA San Antonio Dodgers at VJ Keefe Field on the campus of St. Mary's University back in 1981. On this day in 1987, with the first pick of the 1987 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select quarterback, University of Miami, Vinny Testaverde. On this day in 2007, the Oakland Raiders had the first pick in the draft. They draft LSU quarterback Jamarcus Russell. Oh, don't! How'd that work out for you? On this day in 2011, the Carolina Panthers had the first pick in the draft. They draft Auburn quarterback Cam Newton. He would get him to a Super Bowl. They were favored in that Super Bowl, but didn't win it. And finally, on this day in 2016, the Los Angeles Rams had the first pick in the NFL draft. They draft Jared Goff. He would get them to a Super Bowl, and then they would blow him out. They'd say, adios, Jared. You're not Jared from Subway.
It's like in Monsters, Inc. when they walk through the door, and then they're in an ice apocalypse land, and they don't know how to get out. That's what happened to Jared Goff.
Well, and you think about it, Jared Goff gets the Rams to the Super Bowl. No, we're done with you. We don't think you're going to work out. Jimmy Garoppolo gets the 49ers to a Super Bowl, and they were leading going into the 4th quarter by 10. Nope. Sorry, Jimmy, you're injured a bit too much. That's this day in sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1964 in Cincinnati, Ohio, Barry Larkin, who would be an infielder for the Cincinnati Reds, kind of like Pete Rose. Born in Cincinnati, you become a Cincinnati Red. It's pretty cool. This day in 1966, American golfer John Daly is born. He would win the PGA Championship in 91, the British Open in 95. John Daly was born in Carmichael, California. Born on this day in 1975, James Thrash, wide receiver with the Washington football team. Not a great player. I just love the name James Thrash. So happy birthday, James Thrash. Born on this day in 1980, basketball player with the Dallas Mavericks, Josh Howard. Happy birthday, Josh Howard. And finally, born on this day, I don't know the year, but we found out this morning, Gordon Weidman, sports talk radio listener and rock and roll musician and record store owner extraordinaire. Gordon Weidman, born on this day. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Gordon.
Also
Happy.
Dean's birthday.
It's whose?
Dean Stone.
Dean Stone. How did I miss that?
I don't know,
Thank you.
everyone's on here wishing him a happy birthday right now on our lovely
Dean,
video.
God, Dean Stone, happy birthday.
And you said John Daly. That's the dude that rides around in a golf cart during the tours and is smoking, right?
Yes, he likes to smoke. He's kind of big. He apparently he enjoys a few adult beverages. Apparently, I think he's had some issues with alcohol. So God love him. But yeah, John Daly, born on this day in 1966. So, Gordon is 64. So you must play the Beatles song "When I'm 64" sometime today. And again, thank you for the save, Shannon. Dean Stone, regular listener, participant, contributor with us on Facebook Live. Happy birthday, Dean. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, and farm animals, here it is. You've waited for it. It has arrived. Your salty shakedown.
All right, I want to start with a weird and sad story because it involves a dog, but also sports.
You're going to bring me down here with a
with
sad
me.
dog story at 7:45.
As far as I know, the dog is alive.
Oh, okay.
And he's a race dog
Woo.
who won back in November of 2020. And like any dog who wins the race, we need a urine sample. And that urine sample came back positive for meth.
Oh,
Meth. And not
Wow.
like a little trace of meth, a big, large, giant amount of meth in this dog's system. Of course, meth it affects the central nervous system and is a stimulant. Dog racing, like it's great. I don't know, what do they call those dogs? The really giant skinny
Greyhounds?
things. Greyhounds. Yes, I know it's a thing. There's a racetrack in Texas for it.
yeah.
But drugging them
That's
to do that is ridiculous.
that owner
And-
should be flogged.
This didn't happen in America. It happened in New Zealand. So it's not like it happened in the racetrack that's down the road, but it did happen. And she has now been banned from the sport for 3 months. She also owes $3,500 in fines, which is a bummer because she was set to win $4,000 from the race that this dog won on meth in November. Information I don't know, but I do have a question for is, do you think that the second place winner now gets that prize money?
I would hope
This
so.
feels very, very much like a Lance Armstrong thing. Like if one dog racer is doing this to their dog and drugging the dog, are there probably other dogs that are drugged, right?
Yes.
So would they
Sadly.
then get that ribbon, that prize, even though they can't obviously go drug test them now for something that happened in November?
I think it's only fair. Yeah. But see, I'm amazed that you said the owner is a she. That sounds like a dude move to me. I assumed automatically. I don't know why.
Right?
It was a guy. It's like, oh, here's what we'll do. Give the dog some meth. But no, a woman did that. Wow. And I guess women
Also,
can do
like,
bad things in sports too.
can you imagine how she got the meth to begin with? And they're like talking to her about her uses, and she's like, "Oh no, it's for my dog." What? Oh yeah, I race dogs.
Yeah,
What?
this isn't for me.
Just very strange. Hope that dog is okay. Hope he's been taken out of the race life and is in a loving home that feeds him good boy treats and not drugs to make him faster. Moving on to something a little bit more enlightening is LeBron James is set to release another book. I didn't know he released one, but last summer he released a children's book that ended up on the New York Times bestseller list.
My goodness.
and it was called I Promise. And now he's got one set to release August 31st. This one is more of a chapter book for like middle graded children. So I guess like your third, fourth, and fifth graders. And it is going to be called We Are Family. And it's about 5 kids from unique backgrounds who come together in, get this, an Ohio town. Shocker. To
Right, what you know.
to save their basketball season, proving getting a chance is sometimes all it takes to succeed. I love stories of athletes venturing and doing other things, especially when it comes, to, they're only going to play in their sport for so long. LeBron seems to be very, very good at this. I didn't know he was already a selling author, but apparently he's got this book coming out. Would you read it? Are you interested? I know it's a kid's book, but
I'm interested because it's LeBron. I think, and a lot of people down on LeBron, and we talked about it last week. That
Strange
tweet
timing for this to be
yeah,
announced,
that
right?
tweet got him a lot of people to hate him even more. But LeBron, in addition to being one of the best basketball players on the planet, he's a thinker. I think he's got an interesting mind and perspective. So I would check it out. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've said this before. I was not a reader. I'm still not much of a reader. When I do read, though, it is mostly like biographies or books from people that I find interesting or entertaining, and people in entertainment. So if I'm a kid and I'm in school, they used to say, "Oh, we're gonna read this 1984 book by this renowned author," and I'm like, "Who? I don't know that person. Why do I care? You're telling me I have to read a book by LeBron James." I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who that is. I will read that book. I will read it right now and take the test. Let's do it tomorrow. Why make this a 3-month project? So I think it's pretty cool. And I'd be interested in years down the line for him to actually write a biography just of his life and career and things that happened that are either great or things like last week, maybe not so great, and what was going on in his mind and the afterthoughts and all these other ventures that he gets into and all the behind the scenes, because we only get so much in his little barbershop HBO show. So be on the lookout for that. Again, it hits stores August 31st, just in time for the new school year.
Woo!
Ron James book hitting the store, entitled We Are Family. All right, and finally today, we've talked a lot about Bitcoin and non-fungible tokens, aka NFT, and now the Warriors, as of yesterday, have entered the NFT landscape. They said that for the last 3 months, they have had people looking into it and researching it, and decided that they wanted to also give back to the community and get their fans something in return. So what they're doing, this is now online and available. You can go check it out. They've got digital championship rings that you can purchase via NFT, as well as some ticket stubs from some of their most prolific games, one of which being that Warriors and Grizzlies game in 2016 that gave them their 73rd win of the season. Some of the proceeds will go to their community foundation that supports educational equality. So I think that's fantastic. I did go and check out it's bidding, right, for these rings and stubs. They do have the championship rings, but they also have one ring that's an exclusive ring that is one ring that's dedicated to all 6 of their championships.
Ooh.
And again, this is NFT, so you're not actually getting a ring.
That's what's crazy.
Of the ring. That particular ring right now, I have a hard time reading NFT, so I'll just say what it says on there. It says 10, and then in parens it says, which equals $26,000.
$26,000 for a ring that's not really a ring.
10 NFT equals $26,000 in today's market. There was one championship ring that was like a second edition, because then not only do they have the 6 individual rings, they also have like first edition, second edition, there are a million different editions, and one of them I just randomly clicked on. It was one of their third ring, second edition. Right now is at like 0.33 NFT, so it wasn't going for nearly as much, but very strange, very odd. I still don't fully understand it. We kind of poked fun at you when you realized you had an Astros championship ring.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
I'm lame.
At least you have a ring.
Yes.
We got people going on here buying virtual rings. It's not even like you can try it on.
That's crazy. I got to bring my Astros championship ring in sometime. But yeah, and again, and to In my defense, it was for charity. It was for the Elf Louise Christmas
Well,
project.
and
It was a
again, so
silent
this.
auction. So I thought, all right, I'm going to give money and it's going to go to this good cause. And I have a little paperweight, an Astros ring.
And like I said, some of this will go back to their community foundation supporting educational equality, but I just don't. I need to know who's buying these.
Well, and I have a problem with the ticket stubs also because if you didn't go to that, if you went to the game and you've got the ticket stub, good on you. It's like, whoa, yeah, here's my. It's like you saw the original Eagles, and if you had the ticket stub, it's like, whoa, there's some street cred. You're gonna buy a ticket stub to a game you didn't go to, and B, it's virtual, so you have it, but you don't even really. That's just weird.
Interesting to note that the Warriors are the first professional sports team franchise to get into the NFT game in this way. So I'm sure
Spurs, please don't do this.
We will see more
Don't do it,
teams,
Spurs.
and possibly even the Spurs with
No.
all of their rings getting into this soon. And, I do think it's great they have the charity tie-in and they're kind of testing the waters, right? Maybe they also have some one-off things where you can sign a contract for a day with the Warriors and meet the team and things like that are a little more tangible. But you do purchase it through these NFTs. And that concludes today's Salty Shakedown. And while we have just a couple minutes before break, I have to run this by you, Chris. Do you know who Lightning McQueen is?
I do not.
From the Disney animated Pixar movie Cars?
Now I can probably visualize
Okay.
who that is.
So
Yes.
Crocs came out that were designed like him yesterday, adult versions specifically, and they sold out in minutes. And there are adults who are feverishly trying to buy some, even at the now thousands of dollars that they cost for the resale price. You want to talk about people going after things that they shouldn't go after and buying silly things. What is wrong with people?
That's weird.
I would
People
never.
Yeah. First of all, I've never owned Crocs. Secondly, those are kind
Like,
of
on the one level, there's the fact that it's Crocs. On the second level, it's the fact that it's Lightning McQueen Crocs. And on the third, it's that it's adults and not children.
wow.
That sat in my head a lot yesterday. And I
Yes.
just need to get that off my chest.
All right.
I'm still very confused.
You feel better though now that you got
I
that out
do.
there? Okay.
I do.
Well, coming up will make you feel even better. Bill Schoening, and we've already got an agenda with Bill.
Every song makes everything better, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. We'll hear some music from Bill Schoening, not just sports and Spurs talk, some music. Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, joining us next. She's Shannon. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show.
Yeah, Gordon, Facebook just isn't where the action's at. It's good for business, not so much personal pleasure. And when I was in high school, a different story. Yeah, John, the whole rookie cards going for millions. I don't understand that either. Hey, Chris. Chris. Can you have him put me in queue?
Yes.
Hey, I missed that contest read for good stock. Can we try and hit it real quick before we bring
Yeah, and what's on the read? I'm just trying to figure out how I can lead you into it.
it's the tailgate package for Nolan Ryan's Good stock.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just start the show and say before we bring on Bill, Shannon, you got a cool tailgate opportunity for people. So I'll just lead you into that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Bill's ready.
Thank you.
I gave him a heads up. You're going to ask him about his music and getting ice cream with both on too.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay, here we come.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
Now, Jeff Garcia, I said I hope the Spurs don't. So we did not say that they are. All right.
Chris Duel.
8 o'clock hour on a Wednesday, midway point of the week. It is not only all downhill from here, but it's the eve of the NFL draft. It's also a Spurs game night. In a moment, we will hear from the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. We'll also dive into a little bit of his music this morning as well. But before we go to Bill Schoening, Shannon, you've been telling us about a very, very cool opportunity involving tailgating, and I want to make sure we get the word out on that.
Yeah, so head over to am1300thezone.com and get to the contest page to enter the Salty Shakedown Sizzling Summer Tailgate Contest. A bit of a mouthful, but that's because it's a giant tailgate package, including good stock Angus ribeye steaks, good stock strip steaks, good stock Angus fillets. All of this, of course, brought to you by Nolan Ryan's Good Stock.
Nolan Ryan.
Pack, the perfect choice when you're hosting a game day tailgate at the stadium or watch party in the comfort of your home. Hand-selected variety of their most popular good stock Angus USDA choice steaks will ensure everyone gets their favorite cut. Meat so good you don't even need a salty shakedown. And as you just did, your Nolan Ryan impression, a guy who was also very good at impressions.
Yes.
The one and only Mr. Bill Schoening.
Mr. Bill Schoening. And I wonder if you ever met Nolan Ryan. Bill, you've met a lot of luminaries in your life. Have you ever met Nolan Ryan?
Freaking heating and air. I'm Nolan Ryan. It might not be as good as your impersonation. No, I've met Nolan on many occasions. Fairly good buddies with his son Reed.
Wow.
Reed, his son Reed played at Alvin High School, got recruited by Coach Cliff Gustafson, legendary name in San Antonio, of course, and legendary name at the University of Texas, to come play baseball at the University of Texas. He transferred after, I believe, his freshman year and went to TCU, where he had a pretty good college career. And then just a few years after that, his dad had the idea, and Reed was right behind him, to start a minor league baseball franchise in Round Rock, north of Austin. And Reed, of course, for years ran that organization, ran that franchise, and did a very, very good job. I believe he was named minor league executive of the year, at least on one occasion. And now, of course, he's with the Houston Astros. So Reed has come right up the aisle, or right up the ladder, I should say, in professional baseball. And it wasn't because of Nolan. I mean, maybe he got to start because of his dad. But Reed has had a very successful career in baseball because he's a hard worker and a good organizational guy, and just a really good baseball guy. But yeah, so I know Nolan, but I know his son Reed a lot.
Wow, that's great stuff. And of course, Reed Ryan and Nolan Ryan, a lot of the success that the Houston Astros had in building the team that we now know to be the Houston Astros, that's, won that 2017 World Series and has been knocking on the door ever since. They were a big part of that brain trust in finding those players and developing that system. Bill Schoening with us. Bill, it is as I mentioned, it's a Spurs game night. You'll have the call tonight. Spurs in Miami to take on the Miami Heat. Pregame at 6:30. Tip-off just after 7. Originating out of 1200 WOAI in San Antonio, the flagship station, and along the Spurs radio network. And it's kind of nice. I think we're at 5 out of 6 games for the Spurs. It's kind of nice to be playing good basketball as we are now easily in these the final month, and I think we're down to 12 now, the final 12 games of the season, the regular season.
Yeah, that was an impressive win the other night because they had gotten down, and of course they were down a key player in Derek White, who went down with an ankle injury, a sprained ankle, and of course he won't play tonight. There's not been a timetable on how far it'll be or how long he'll be out. How far down the road we'll see him again, hopefully soon. But obviously they're going to take their time and make sure that he's sound and ready to go before they put him back in there. But they had to overcome that, and they did it the other night. I mean, it was a pretty amazing performance because Washington had been playing just about as well as anyone in the league with 8 straight wins. And of course, they're fighting for a playoff position in the Eastern Conference. So that was a good road win for the Spurs, who are now, Chris, 18-10 away from the AT&T Center.
Well, and the Spurs now on that little bit of a hot streak with 3 wins in a row. But prior to that, they had lost to the Heat just a week ago. That was when the Heat were in town. Now the Spurs are in Miami. We know that they've played much better on the road, but what do they need to overcome to get that win against the Heat this time around?
If Miami continues to play zone defense, the Spurs have to do a better job of attacking the zone defense. They did not do a very good job of that in the game last week in San Antonio. They only shot 29% in the second half. They only scored 34 points in the second half and lost by 20. So there's room for improvement there offensively. They only shot, I believe, 10 for 35 in the game from three-point range. One of the ways, of course, to try to beat a zone is to shoot over it. But if you're shooting 10 for 35, that's not very efficient. So they've got to do a better job attacking the zone, and also when they do move the ball around and get a good shot from three-point range, knock it down.
Well, and we talked about Derek White. He has the ankle injury in the last game, Bill, and we don't know the extent. Pop did say to the media it doesn't look good, but we haven't heard length of what rehab might be. And I'm sure, as you know, Bill, from all of your experience, calling a wide variety of sports over the years, you never know with an ankle. I mean, sometimes an ankle injury can be a long-term thing, sometimes not as long. But Derek White was playing so well. It's so sad. We've heard so many Spurs just say, that obviously we hope he comes back soon. But you hate to see a guy who was playing at such a high level go down with an injury like that.
And it's been that kind of a season for him, He didn't start the season on the active roster because of toe surgery, and then he aggravates that toe. injury that first day back, that first game back, and he missed more time. And then when he was getting in a groove, the whole COVID thing happened in February, so that took him out for a while. And now he had played, I believe, 28 consecutive games without missing a game. And during the month of April, he was playing his best basketball of the season. He was averaging just under 19 points per game. We saw the way he was taking charges and diving for loose balls all over the floor defensively. So they're going to miss that for sure. But as DeJounte Murray said, next man up, we got to keep going here. And hopefully Derek White will be able to rejoin the team shortly. But for a while now, at least, looks like they're going to have to do without him.
Bill, I don't know if you've seen Lonnie Walker's new swag that he just released. He announced it on his social medias the other day. Of course, when he was drafted to the Spurs, he had that iconic hairdo that he had himself printed on a shirt and sold that. But now he's got a brand new one because, of course, he's got more of a shaved head now. And he's even thrown in the Fiesta Spurs colors onto this shirt. I didn't realize, there were guys that were marketing themselves like this down there in Spurs country. Are there more guys? I mean, is he a central guy? Is he like a guy that you would get merch for if you're a Spurs fan?
Walker is a real sharp cookie. I mean, he's a real bright guy, reads a lot, very intuitive. And I love the chance to interview him. Of course, this year we haven't had a chance to do one-on-one interviews because of COVID. So I'm hoping that next year that'll loosen up a little bit and we'll be able to visit with these guys a little bit more often. But always good to hear from Lonnie. And of course, now you mentioned this. Lonnie's going to be an important player for the Spurs moving forward. He always has been, but now, especially I think with the injury to Derek White, this will be an opportunity probably for more playing time for Lonnie Walker. So this will be an important stretch for him.
He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And Bill, I've noticed the game last night. I was paying close attention to it, the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. And I knew whatever the outcome, it would both benefit the Spurs' chances in the standings, and it would go the other way as well, because the Spurs and the Warriors have been kind of vying for 9 and 10 lately, and they've had similar records. But going into last night, the Spurs were just 2 games behind the Dallas Mavericks, who were in the 6th slot, which just shows you how jumbled up a lot of these teams are in the Western Conference. But in that game last night, I don't know if you saw it, our buddy, former Spur, and a guy you got to know real well when he was in San Antonio, Boban Marjanovic, ejected from that game with a flagrant 2 as he collided with Jordan Poole in midair. Did you get a chance to see that play at all last night, Bill?
I have not. I did not even turn the TV on last night, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Last night was my first night away from sports,
Yeah.
college baseball on the side. So I decided to kind of just not even watch it. So I wish you'd give me a heads up because I can't imagine Boban getting thrown out of the game. So I'll definitely have to watch that replay.
Well, what's amazing about it is, and Shannon and I were talking about it this morning. First of all, it shouldn't have been a flagrant 2. I think I think you'll agree with that when you see it. But secondly, Boban, and you know him well, Bill, he immediately goes down to Jordan Poole, hit the ground hard, and I think his head bounced on the court. But Boban gets down. He gets down on one knee. He's talking to him, worried about him. And this is an opponent. It was just such a moment of sportsmanship and humanity. And for me, it was typical Boban. It was like Boban just being a good dude in a moment where an opponent looks like he hit the court hard. And then they toss, and Boban doesn't even get angry at the official when he's tossed with a flagrant 2. He's like, okay, he's just off he goes. You'll love the video. It was an amazing moment.
He's one of the great guys, I've had a chance to beat in the league. This is my 20th season. Just he's like a big teddy bear. He really is. Everybody loves Boban. The opponents, his teammates, the fans, obviously. In every city he's been in, he's been a fan favorite. And that includes San Antonio when he started with the Spurs about 5-6 years ago. So, I have not had a chance to see that play yet, but I'm sure that is what happened, and just the way you described it. If he certainly didn't mean to hurt anyone, including Jordan Poole. So it's just not the way that guy is wired. He's just the guy that loves everybody.
Well, Bill, Chris has told me that you and Boban had some ice cream. Is this true?
In Boban's rookie year, I was in Portland finishing a meal, and he was with another guard that the Spurs had named Ray McCallum. Of course, Boban was the center. Ray was I guess it was a rookie guard at the time, maybe a second-year guard, because I think Ray had spent some time with another organization. Anyway, they come over and say, hey, we're getting some ice cream. And Boban says, yes, let's go to Baskin-Robbins. So I'm walking down the street with Boban. Now, he's 7'4". And when you're walking with somebody that's 7'4", you can see people gawking. It's just the way it is. And we go into the ice cream parlor there, and the little guy behind was a short guy behind the counter. Well, he starts looking up from his ice cream, and he starts looking up, and he keeps looking up. He had a crane on his neck, and the crane just kept going higher and higher. And he didn't ask Boban if he wanted ice cream or yogurt. He just said, how tall are you? And Boban looks down at this guy and goes, this is a question I never get. So anyway, of course, and then Boban was great. He got a laugh, and then he treated the ice cream, I believe, that day. So we had a lot of fun. That was in Portland his rookie year. Yeah, with Ray McCown. Yeah, remember that.
And I remember a great photo, Bill, of you and Boban in the Baskin-Robbins enjoying the ice cream.
Yes, and of course I posted that on social media, and everybody's saying, how tall are you? 4'1", 4'2"? You know, you shrunk, and you're getting shorter with age. And Boban had his legs kind of spread in that picture. And if his legs were together, I would have been looked even shorter, you know. So I mean, we had to kind of do a wide scope to get me in the picture with him. But really a great guy. I can't talk enough about Boban. One of the favorite guys I've come across in my 20 years, like I said.
Absolutely. Now, Shannon, yesterday, Bill, got a tour of the new Austin FC stadium, Q2 Stadium in Austin, which will not only be home of Austin FC soccer, but concerts are going to come there. It's a beautiful stadium. And Shannon, you and I were talking earlier, and in a moment, we're going to hear a little music from Bill, but you had an idea for Bill.
Bill, I think you need to create an Austin FC theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, more so for Austin, but just attributed to Austin FC.
Yeah, I got to kind of educate myself on soccer a little bit, to be honest with you, Shannon. I'm not quite up on the soccer thing. So I'm more of a basketball, baseball, football kind of guy. American football.
That's fair. Right,
but
we'll work on
But
it.
do you think Bill, now, because I mean Austin FC, Matthew McConaughey involved in ownership, and it's becoming just such a, I mean, they're already haven't even played a home game yet, and there's already a ton of fans in Austin. There are even people showing up on the road for Austin FC, and they haven't played a home game yet, which I think is amazing. But do you think you might get into it a little bit now that they're kind of in your backyard?
Yeah, maybe, but I worry about basketball first, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I'm not putting down soccer. I like soccer. It's okay. But if I went to a game, I'd probably get into it. You know, it's kind of like hockey. You know, you can't really watch hockey on TV and really appreciate it. But when you go to a live game, especially an NHL game, you can't help but get into it. So I would imagine if I go to an Austin FC game, I would get into it. I've driven past that stadium, and I haven't had a tour like Shannon has, but I hear it's quite a facility. So I'm sure that'll just be a drawing card in itself. And the fact that they've got guys like Matthew McConaughey behind it, I'm sure that's going to make it cool too. So, and I wouldn't mind seeing a concert out there. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing some live music soon because it's been a while for me. You know me, Chris. I'm really into the live music scene, and I have not been able to listen to an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar or a drum in a long time. It seems like live. So I'm looking forward to that loosening up as well, both in San Antonio and in Austin.
Well, so we established the fact that you may or may not compose a theme song for the Austin FC soccer squad, but you've written some. You don't only write about the Spurs, but I mean you've got a great music. You've put out some CDs that have been just outstanding. But you do sometimes write about the Spurs, and including one of your tunes called "Ballers from Istanbul," which we're going to play here in a moment. If that's is that okay with you? Can we play it?
Yeah, I kind of sent it to you just as to let you know that I was actually going to go in the studio with the song. So if you play it, that's fine. But let me preface the song by saying this. This is recorded on an iPhone on an acoustic guitar. So when we go in, we're going to kind of dress it up a little bit. We're going to have all kinds of different stuff accompanying the song. So I would prefer maybe you just play a verse of it, not the whole thing, because it's really not representative of what I'm going to do when I go in the studio with the song with my producer Nick Whitworth. But yeah, I just wrote this when we were in Istanbul about 5 years ago. Actually, more than that now. It was 2014, so 7 years ago. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, start with the lyrics.
Championship. We played in Berlin and then in Istanbul.
So start with the lyrics.
We played in Istanbul. We played Fenerbahce Ulker, and they had a lot of names that were not easy to roll off the tongue. There was not a Smith or a Jones in the whole bunch. So that's where the song came from.
Well, okay, but I want to make sure if you want to wait until you have the full blown thing that you do in the studio, either that or I could play just a little dash of it here. It's up to you. I don't want to.
How about the verse and the chorus? And then next time we play it, it'll be all dressed up. How about that?
All right, now we'll see if Dave Ayler can get to a verse and the chorus. All right, here we go. This is just a taste of Ballers from Istanbul with a lot of international basketball names involved by Bill Schoening. Recorded on an iPhone, not in the studio yet, so that's our disclaimer. We'll get a little taste of it, then we'll talk to Bill on the way out of it. Here it comes.
Is it Turkey Yilmaz? Just to name a few. Luka Zoric, Berko Gurlu, Kenan Sapahi. He's fun too. This is the best way I know how to say these Turkish names when they commit a foul. Emir Briljic, Sir Hudson, Sammy Erden, will it never end? Ogu Savas, Jan Vesle too, Ken Elton Ting. Yeah, this is quite a crew. This is the best way I know how to say these Turkish names when they commit a foul.
Bill Schoening. All right, I don't want to go too far because it's that pretty darn good sound for an iPhone, Mr. Bill Schoening. That doesn't sound like it. That sounds a lot better than my iPhone, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I appreciate that. But we're thinking about making that kind of a reggae song, like put a little steel drum in there and doing some kind of Caribbean beat. And I want to be the guy that has written the only reggae song about a Turkish basketball team.
That is outstanding. I love that. You're going to have to take that to South by Southwest and do a
that back up.
Right.
That song is actually 7 years old, and I wrote it, and I haven't done anything with it. So this year, I'm going to go in the studio and record some of these songs that I've got on the back burner, so just to have some fun with it.
Well, and when you're done recording in the studio, when you've got them mastered or whatever you musicians do, we'd love to play them on the radio, Bill, because they're great fun, and we love hearing your music, man.
I appreciate that. A couple of those guys that are on that team, by the way, are now in the NBA. Nemanja Bjelica,
yeah,
I believe he's with the Miami Heat, who the Spurs play tonight. And one of the guys that did not mention in the song is Bogdan Bogdanovic, who, of course, has been in the NBA now since, I think, 2016.
Amazing. Bill Schoening, he will have the call tonight as the Spurs are on the road trying to keep this winning phase going. They've won 5 out of 6 and 3 in a row. Spurs versus the Miami Heat tonight in Miami. Tip-off just after 7. Pre-game Spurs radio game night with that man, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, at 6:30 out of 1200 WOAI in San Antonio and across the Spurs radio network. Bill Schoening, always great fun, sir. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you on the radio tonight.
Okay, Chris, thank you.
All right, Bill Schoening. I hope he didn't get mad that we played I hope he was okay with that, Shannon, that we played a little bit of his song. He sent it to me, so I thought he wanted us to play it. So
I mean, he did give us permission to play it.
He did. Yes, we played a little bit of it.
I had tones like that.
I know.
Even a little bit.
I got zero musical chops whatsoever. So here we are on radio. Quick break. More coming up. We'll talk some NFL draft coming up. We'll update the poll results. What do you want the Dallas Cowboys to do in the first round of tomorrow night's NFL draft? That and a whole lot more. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. She's Shannon. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show. right. Yeah, there you go, Bernard. Yeah, he sent it to me without any description, so I was thinking, okay, we can play the whole thing. So hopefully he's okay with it. I'll be right back. Sam, that was iced tea run number 3, I think. We've already done a number of coffees. Unsweet, John. Luckily, I never developed a taste for sweet tea because if I did, I'd weigh 20 pounds more than I already do, which is 20 pounds too much. Luckily, I prefer tea unsweet. So, but I know sweet tea is a thing with a lot of people. There you go, Louisa. Pure Leaf. It's good. Wow, Gordon, I've seen that box set advertised. It looks amazing. Highly tempting for me as a big John Lennon fan. Yeah, Gordon, you should do. I know a lot of people, they open a box set and do a review of it on YouTube. I think you'd be really good at that because you know so much about music. You were a rock and roll musician. You own a record store. Be kind of interesting, and it would also perhaps promote the record store if you did that. Because I'd be interested, obviously, like in this case, the John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band box set to see your review of it. Highly recommended. Very good. Welcome back. It is the Chris Duel Show. I'm Chris Duel, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler, who just says no to Twitter and TikTok and everything but Facebook. I did see Gordon Weedman. It's his birthday. I saw Shannon on Facebook Live. He said he's got a daughter who I think's in high school, and his daughter and her friends don't even do Facebook at all because they say all the old people are on Facebook. So that would be me, I guess.
I mean, Facebook was created in the early 2000s and originally meant for people only in college.
True.
So that was, 20 years ago. Those people are probably in their mid 40s now. Fair.
Well, but cars were created, and we didn't. Well, cars are for old people. I mean, they created
that provides some necessity though for transportation.
Facebook is great for
business, which is why we use it.
Yeah.
It's not so much for personal pleasure anymore for folks like me.
But see, to me, some of the, I like Twitter a lot because, and what I do, I have a bunch of different lists for Twitter. So I follow like lots of people and lots of, different information, like, different sports sites and different news. So mine's, I've got like one list is just football. One list is just baseball. One list is just news. One is weather. I follow local meteorologists. That's, to me, that's the power of Twitter is, it's what's happening right now. And if you narrow it down to a list, you can see what's happening on the list. But, I look at what Twitter is. I look at what Instagram is. I look at what TikTok is. What I kind of like about Facebook, it can be all of those. So it can be photos. It can be information. It can be video. Whereas some of those other ones are really narrowed into that little, niche. So I'm just saying.
What's on Twitter that isn't on Facebook?
What's on Twitter that
I friends, which is great because, or my quote unquote Facebook friends, because
I have all those
complain.
So they're all on Facebook too. So you hear them complain on Twitter and Facebook?
No. I'm saying they're what's on Facebook isn't on Twitter, and that's what I like about it. Because I'm much more picky on Twitter with who I follow. Like on Facebook, I'm stuck with all of my high school people, which is fine because I want to I hope they're doing well and I want to see what they're doing with their lives. But some of their opinions I could do without.
Well, then you blow them out. Then you unfriend them, or
then I lose that connection.
Well,
Facebook is simply there as a connection tool and not a update. I'm not updating it regularly or caring about someone's photos of their kids.
Well, people put all that on Twitter too, though.
Oh no.
Well, they don't.
It's much less.
Yeah. So if there's somebody on Facebook that annoys me, I just take them out of my newsfeed.
And I've done that a lot. I mean, in the election year last year, I had to it got so ugly. I had to defriend a few people. I finally discovered you to silence somebody. You can kind of just click something to
30 days.
Yeah. So I've been doing that a lot lately too. Well, as soon as I discovered it. But to me, Twitter is more. To answer your question, Dave, what's on Twitter that's not on Facebook? To me, Twitter is more breaking news. It's more it's like Adrian Wojnarowski is an example, who's an NBA reporter. And I mean, Schefter for NFL. It's like if something breaks, if LeBron James or if Tiger was a great example. When Tiger got in the car accident, it probably appeared on Twitter a little faster than Facebook.
Or Shannon for a Texas scoop.
But
exactly.
But I have all those on my Facebook. I have NFL Network, all those, and they post all the trades, and MLB post all their trades. Everything's on
Boomer.
It's all in the same place.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah, it's just coming 4 days late.
4 days, like 15 minutes.
That's like getting the newspaper.
That's true.
Watching the evening news.
Exactly.
I knew all of this earlier in the day. I knew all
I've got everything you guys talked about right here in the newspaper. Why should I have the internet when I've got the newspaper? You're right, Shannon. That's your argument, Dave Ayler. You're picking the newspaper over the internet.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll stick with the newspaper then.
I'm just, you'd like TikTok. I'm telling you, you would like TikTok.
I got a feeling that, and I think you're right, but I'd probably be spending too much time on that and nothing around my house would get done. That's the reason I had to get rid of Netflix because of that. I was like on Netflix 24 hours a day.
So he's saying he's an addict.
Yes. It's all or nothing for me.
I found a fantastic spicy pretzel recipe on TikTok that I now make all the time for my family.
No kidding.
I saw it here during football season, and I was like, oh, that'd be like a great football watching snack. And I'm not even a big snacker, so I make them and then I never eat them. But my family just pounded them back. They're super addicting. And I'm like, look at that, TikTok.
Amazing.
You've changed some lives today.
Who knew? Who knew you would get a spicy pretzel recipe from TikTok? So,
and do I claim them as my own? Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
It's my recipe.
Why not? They'll never know.
Where'd you find this? The back of my brain. I've been there all along. I just dig it out.
Perfect. Well, at this time tomorrow, Shannon, it will be the day of the NFL draft, and I know you're not as geeked up as I am, and even I'm not as geeked up. I saw Tanner Carlson in the hall, and he's like, "Man, draft's coming." He goes, "You want me to make a mock draft for tomorrow's show?" It's, yeah, go ahead, make a mock. He's going to tell us tomorrow every pick the Cowboys are going to make. So again, and nobody, even the great Mel Kiper Jr., nobody gets them all right, but it is interesting to hear some informed opinion, and we shall see. Hopefully the Cowboys just come out of this draft all 3 days of it, because they do have some extra picks, like in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. I just want them, Shannon, come out with some good choices, and hopefully, maybe 4 guys who could be starters over the next couple of years. That would be nice.
Mhm.
You've got to start to overhaul this defense. So
I love the storylines, and I love, on Friday when, typically those first rounders all get flown out on private jets to their new teams, and they take a tour, and we usually get behind the scenes from their social media pages, and they sign their contracts and this, that, and the other, and it's all lovely. And also, I think Hard Knocks, you really kind of start to narrow down. I know there's the eligible teams, but then based on their draft picks, if you pick a hot personality, we've seen Baker Mayfield. We mentioned today was, when Jared Goff got drafted, they had Hard Knocks that season, where we learned that Jared Goff did not know which direction the sun rises and then sets, which he isn't really much of a personality, more than he is a dud and just doesn't know basic things like that. But that did play a part, I think, in getting the Rams that opportunity. As we know, the Cowboys are one of those qualifying teams to be the host of Hard Knocks this year. And if they somehow did get a Kyle Pitts, I think they move up in the rankings for why they should be on it. Because I would like to see a guy that is apparently going to be the next perennial great football player at his position and in the league, I think would be a hot person for the cameras to follow around during training camp.
And most experts say the Cowboys won't do that, obviously, but they're not ruling it out. It could happen. And I see the rationale for it. And
the Cowboys.
Well, because it's the Cowboys. But, when we had Paul Alexander on a couple of weeks ago, who's a rational thinker and a huge Cowboys analyst, fan, and historian, when he was for that idea, because I admit I enjoy the spectacle. I enjoy shiny objects. I enjoyed when T.O. was a Dallas Cowboy, and some people thought the Cowboys should have never gone after T.O. But I do think Kyle Pitts, based on what people are saying, could be a great tight end. And we saw in the Jason Witten era what a really good Hall of Fame tight end can do for your quarterback, Tony Romo, and then Dak Prescott. So I would love to see it. And I'm amazed, because many years ago, I was out at Cowboys training camp in Oxnard. I'm thinking it was like 2010, 2011, something like that. And they were on Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks was out there, and T.O. was on the team at the time. But I think it's been at least, 10 years since the Cowboys have been on Hard Knocks. I'm kind of amazed that it's been this long, because they are America's team. And even if you don't love them, then you hate them. And that would still make for a good Hard Knocks audience. So I hope one way or another, the Cowboys find their way onto Hard Knocks this year.
Yeah, they might be due at this point, with or without a guy like Kyle Pitts being added to the roster to shake things up, because you do have that defensive storyline along with Dan Quinn back there to lead them back into somewhat of a relevant and decent opponent on that side of the ball. And then, of course, Mike McCarthy is, facing a little bit of heat. And, Cowboys may, again, knowing Jerry, although most teams say, oh, God, we don't want to be on Hard Knocks. There's like the jinx. It's a lot of extra pressure. There's a lot of extra things we have to go through with all the cameramen around. But the Cowboys, again, the marketing geniuses that they are, see that as, dollar signs rather than wins and losses, and see that as a way to market their team and their new players and their coaches and their new facilities. And I mean, just everything shiny and new for them. Last year was the 60th anniversary?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this year?
61.
Exactly. So let's do something special.
Well, and you've got some great storylines. You've got Dak coming back from injury. Dak's a great character. So you'd love him on camera. You've got a lot of human interest with Dak, having just lost his brother. He could have Tad on his brother.
Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke is a crazy character. He's low-key faded, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd see if Zeke was high throughout the training camp. And then, as you said, a defense that needs a complete overhaul with Dan Quinn now as defensive coordinator and Jerry. So, I mean, you've got You got plenty of storylines with it. And then if they get Kyle Pitts, forget about it. Then you've really got something going. The only other one I would like to see, and I think they're ineligible, it would be Jacksonville with Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, and Urban Meyer as a new coach. I know they wouldn't do it, and that would be too many distractions. But for me, I'd love to see that. That would be must-see TV.
Yeah, Urban being a new head coach does make them ineligible. But that doesn't mean they can't say they will do it and put their name in the hat.
So the NFL might bend the rules. I mean, I think it would make sense for HBO and the NFL.
The rules are more for the teams that you can't say no if you don't, if you don't have a brand new head coach, if you haven't made the playoffs in X amount of years, X amount of times, you can't say no. Like you are thrown in the hat no matter what. You can't say no if the NFL says they're going to film you. But you can put yourself in there to say, no, we wouldn't mind being filmed. We wouldn't mind the extra exposure. And I don't know much about the ownership there in Jacksonville, if they're like wanting to see more dollar signs and really pump up, this new year. But if I'm Urban Meyer, I'm like, absolutely not. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I just left TV.
I don't like TV. I didn't even like it when I was on TV. That's why I'm back in football. All right, Shannon, I want to make sure we update the poll question before things come to an end. The poll question has to do with the NFL draft and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, asking what would you like to see the Dallas Cowboys do in the first round of the NFL draft? Still leading the way. Most people are saying just stick with that number 10 pick and go ahead and get a cornerback to take care of that defense. 11% of the vote going to trade up for Kyle Pitts.
Whoa!
He is a big name star that's not a quarterback in this year's draft. And now with 16% of the vote, people are saying trade back for more picks. Which I guess if you're playing the odds game, right? Only so many of the picks are actually going to hit. So if you get more picks, maybe you'll get more hits.
Yeah, if you truly believe that in the first 3 rounds you can get really quality future starters and you can trade back, then you get more picks, you get more players, and you get more future starters. Theoretically, I want Kyle Pitts myself, though. That's me.
I'm seeing now on our video feed here, Mr. Sam Tobias saying he's going to miss the next 2 days of the show because he'll be opening at work. We will miss you on the live show, Sam, but we have the podcast. Each show is loaded, and it's loaded separately hour by hour for your convenience. So you can find that on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, really anywhere you listen to podcasts. So you never have to miss a minute.
Exactly.
Even we sound better the second time around.
And you don't want to miss tomorrow's show, especially Shannon talking about storylines. Don Haas Holding. We've talked about him. He's been with us on Facebook Live. He was, I think, 345 pounds. He's 59 years old. And he said, I've always had a dream to be a professional wrestler. So he went into the gym for several months and will make his professional wrestling debut this weekend in Castroville, Texas. We're going to have him on just after 7:00 tomorrow. That should be a fun segment just to hear his story.
Hard Knocks should have followed him.
Exactly.
They should be following him.
It's our very own version of Hard Knocks tomorrow. Tanner Carlson with his final Cowboys mock draft tomorrow as well. So it should be a fun show. So listen live and or listen to the podcast.
Or both.
Or both. Just listen constantly. Why not?
You want us to keep our jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It's on you. Help us. So our thanks to the great Bill Schoening. He'll have the call tonight. Spurs, Miami Heat, 7:00 tip-off, 6:30 pregame. Dave Ayler, great job. I'll see you on TikTok. And Shannon Salty Sweeney, breaking news about the Verde shop at Q2 Stadium. Great job, Shannon, as always. We'll do this again in 21 hours.
All righty, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Have yourself a great Wednesday. The draft is here tomorrow. We'll see you in 21. Thanks so much.